Hi everyone, and welcome to blog 53 of Tackle the Feelings Before the Behavior. Today's blog is going to be called Emotional Memories and Healing Trauma. So my name's Paula and I'm a psychotherapist. I work with families with children under 5 years old, and I'm also an individual general psychotherapist as well. So I have a big interest in inner child work and looking at how we were parented and looking at how parents are parenting now and helping to coach and guide through emotional regulation and attachment, and to really increase the mental health of children and to prevent things happening later on. And my main goal is to prevent childhood emotional neglect, because Tackle the Feelings mantra is bringing emotions back. And it's something that we kind of all know what emotions are, and we mostly know the different emotions. But do we know how they benefit us? Do we know how they impact us? Do we know what happens to us in early childhood in terms of our emotional memories, and why so many of us struggle to work through our trauma or things that have happened to us? We have no memory of big things that happened to us. And we don't understand why, and we can't see things very clearly. And I wanted to make a blog today to explain why that is. I want to give you a bit of information, and you can do with it what you want. It can be interest level, or it can help you on your healing journey like it's helped me. So the thing to remember, and this is if you're parents or if you're just trying to understand yourself a bit more, is that under 5 years old, your predominant system to use as guidance, to use as a tool for yourself, is not your thinking, it's not your mind, it's not your cognitions. The neocortex part of your brain is not developed yet. It's still developing. So we don't really have things like memory and rational thought and high-level functioning very developed at all, if at all, in the early toddler, baby, infancy levels. We don't have thinking. So what we use now, we are always in our minds now. That isn't what it's like for children. That wasn't what it was like for us when we were 5 years old or under. And so these are the formative years. And in these formative years, we were running from our limbic system and our physical instinctual systems. But I want to focus on that limbic system. That's your emotional system. So it's linked to your physical, the survival and your instincts and everything that come from your brain stem. But your emotions are there. They are there from the get-go, pretty much. Fear is there, and it's a different kind of emotional experience when you're a baby to when you're a little bit bigger, but you still have those emotions. So things get stored in a physical and emotional level in terms of memory, not in a thinking level. So you don't have the visuals, you don't have the thought processes and memories in the same way you would if you remember last year's birthday party, or if you remember a fight that happened between you and your partner. It's not like that. You can't replay the whole incident like a movie or a visual. It doesn't come up in terms of thought. What you're remembering under 5 years old is feeling states. So if you've got trauma or something happened to you when you're very little, your memory is not going to be a thinking memory. You're not going to get the memory very clearly in terms of who did it, what happened, what you thought, the processes that go along with that. What you're going to have, for instance, if you were sexually abused, are fear, violation, shame, those emotions, disgust. You're going to have some trauma in those emotions. You're going to have a distrust for people, and you're going to have triggers that trigger those emotional responses in you. But you've repressed that. You've often dissociated from that. Your brain isn't developed enough to handle such an enormous thing that has happened to you, that you've pushed that memory aside. And if you're under 5, that memory is very different. You're working from emotional memories. So there's good news and bad news. The bad news is you have to be a bit of a detective. You don't have tangible things to work with a lot of the time, and unless someone can help you, or you can really get in touch with yourself or have dreams or whatever, you're going to have to work in a largely unknown area and decipher what's happened to you through your emotional system. The good news is you do not have to relive the entire trauma in order to heal it. You don't have to walk through what happened to you step by step in order to heal that trauma. You can do that just by working with the emotions. You can do that through building those healthy relationships to your emotions and yourself. So when you're doing inner child work, you're wanting to really embrace that side of you. You're wanting to allow these feelings to come through. You're wanting to see how these feelings have created patterns throughout your life. Do you keep feeling a sense of abandonment? Do you keep having a problem with fear? And you work with those emotions in order to heal that trauma. So when doing inner child work, it's really important to be able to work with your emotions as well, and to know that your memories are sitting in an emotional realm. So I hope that's been helpful. Please ask questions if you need to. Bye.